Hello, buddy. Today I'm reading another short chapter out of this book, They Saw Sasquatch by Gary and Wendy Swanson. The encounter takes place at the Shaun Creek Overlook in August of 2011. I'm not sure what we saw this day, and we think it was a Sasquatch, but I guess we'll never really know. Almost 5 years ago, on a hot summer day, three friends and I decided to hike up to the Onion Mountain Fire Lookout Tower. We decided to make a day of it, so we packed a lunch and plenty of sodas and water. There was a lot of haze in the air once we reached the tower, so we didn't have a great view of the faraway mountains, but we sat up on the tower and had our lunch. On the way back down the mountain, my friend Mary got all excited and said she just spotted a metallic blue snake. I quickly looked where she was pointing and glimpsed the bright blue tail quickly moving away. I laughed and told her that it was just a skink. Mary had just moved to Grants Pass from Portland and said the only place she had ever seen a snake was at the zoo. I told her a skink was a type of lizard and had 4 legs. This got the 4 of us talking about snakes. And Bill mentioned that on our way back to town, we could stop at the Shaun Creek Overlook, where you can almost always spot a snake or 2, sometimes even a rattlesnake. So that's what we did. We parked in a small turnout across the road from the overlook, carefully watching the ground for snakes. Just before we reached the area where you can look out over the valley, we heard a loud screaming sound. As we ran toward the precipice, we could see the tops of the trees below us fiercely shaking. As we looked over the edge, the noise suddenly stopped and the trees stopped moving. We stood there for a few minutes talking about what it might have been. We thought maybe a cougar had caught a rabbit or even a deer. That's when the pounding started. It sounded like a club being hit against a tree right below us, and then we heard more pounding from farther away. Next, we heard the sound of something climbing up toward us. Bill said, "Run!" We all ran as fast as we could back to the car, jumped in, and got out of there. We stopped at Griffin Park before going back to town to talk about what had happened. We had all heard stories about Bigfoots living behind the Oregon caves, and we concluded that this is what it must have been. The 4 of us, Mary, Bill, Eileen, and I, never talked about this again until this past Christmas. I came home for a visit. I'm in school at Boise State, and the 4 of us got together to talk about old times. Bill brought up our adventure, and after discussing it for a little while, we decided we send you the story as long as you don't use our last names. Bill, Ellen, Mary, and Jack from Grants Pass, Oregon. Yeah, I don't blame him for leaving in such a hurry, because if you heard a sound and you never heard of it before, I wouldn't want to stay and find out who or what was making it. But that Bigfoot probably was mad that you were in its territory and decided to make some noise to scare you. But I'm glad that they were able to get out quick enough and tell the story. Hope you guys enjoyed this little Bigfoot encounter, and have a nice day.